We've got Chris on technical, Neil on insight, and Steve in the driving seat. It's Talking Formula One.
Hello and welcome to Talking Formula One with me, Steve, and the side of Chris's face. There he is. How you doing, Chris?
All right. I saw a spot on my arm. I thought I'd try and get before we started.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I know there's totally no preparation before the show. We've both come in our favourite team's away shirts. Looking quite retro there as well.
Yours are right. Mine's from last season, so
Oh, but I don't follow that.
actually fits.
I've gone for very much a 90s original.
That's good, that is. That is good.
There we go. But
I do like an orange kit.
Absolutely. Well, this is red, but believe it or not, but my lighting is terrible. But there we go. We're not here to talk about football. That's going to come later when both teams have depressed us. I'm sure. We shall see. Yes, we're here to look ahead to Singapore, of course. It's the Singapore Grand Prix. I said Grand Prix. I absolutely love the first night race on the calendar when that was a brand new thing and everyone raved about it. And now every race wants to do a night race by the sound of it. How are you feeling towards Singapore? Is it one you like, one you can give or take?
It was the birthplace of straight tracks, really, wasn't it? It's what kicked off F1's obsession, I think. With obviously you had Monaco, but Monaco was Monaco. I think Singapore was the one that kicked the street track obsession off. I don't mind it. You take it for what it is, which is Saturday's more important than Sunday. Really?
It's not one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, especially proof in the pudding was 2 years ago of Sainz beating Lando and just literally making sure he was a second behind in the whole half the race. But I don't mind it. I quite enjoy watching the old ones as well on the old F1 channel. So I test the teams better than the usual ones we always can.
We're that old school watching Formula One. We can remember the Singapore Grand Prix with the Singapore sling chicane that it had all those years ago.
And Raikkonen's properly slinging through it.
Oh, yeah. Spearing it off. And I remember Kobayashi doing the same thing. Hit the curves, just took off like that, and he's still trying to steer the car. Not going to happen, mate. Into the barrier. I love it. It's like you say, you had Monaco for years, but this is the track or the street track that really seemed to spark that sort of obsession with it. And it was the night race, it was the first night race on the calendar, and everyone loved that fact. And now you've got obviously Bahrain switched to the night race, and obviously Abu Dhabi. Well, Abu Dhabi was it's twilight, isn't it? So it obviously turns into night.
The whole thing with Abu Dhabi was you start in the day and end in the night, don't you? So.
But Singapore, I love it. There's been some great races there over the years. Absolute carnage and chaos. Obviously, you've had. I'll go back a few years ago when the two Ferraris and Verstappen got in an incident on the first lap.
Yeah.
And Ferrari putting that tweet out saying that Verstappen took out Raikkonen and then went to take out Vettel. And then what we've tweeted was a factual description of events or something like that. Okay. Everyone's spearing into turn one. Obviously, you had 2008 as well with crash gates, which is still talked about to this day in Formula One, and still surprising.
It's a legal dispute at the minute, isn't it? So it's part of a legal case that's been going on. It was mentioned last week.
It was. This could have serious ramifications for Felipe Massa, although we know it probably won't. But there we go. No. Because if you look at that one, as we just said last week, you've then got to look at half of the championships going back to 1950. But there we go. Of course, Singapore, it is a fantastic one. But it's one of the few races, I think, now where the drivers step out of the cars dripping in sweat. Because back in the day, you had all the drivers stepping out of cars exhausted, no matter what race you were at. And you still get that with Singapore because of the humidity.
Yeah.
It absolutely drains the driver. It's a proper hard-working circuit, isn't it? It's a fantastic circuit. I love it.
I think it'll be a good race this weekend because I think the McLarens probably will be too strong, but in behind there'll be some surprises on Saturday as per usual.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Can McLaren bounce back? Obviously, they had a disappointing race in Monza, and then nothing short of a disaster really in Baku. Verstappen winning both of those races as well. So can McLaren get back onto the top step?
Baku was an odd one because it wasn't down to car pace that they had a disaster of a weekend. up until qualifying, they were as quick as anybody.
Yeah.
And then Piastri binned it in qualifying. Norris didn't get the lap together, and then obviously Piastri binned it in the race. So it wasn't actually car pace that was the issue. It was everything else. So this weekend, I fully expect them to be back where they should be, albeit they keep out the wall.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. I mean, Piastri, he's obviously going to want to be righting a lot of wrongs the past couple of races. You know, the pit stop thing back in Monza, and obviously disaster in Baku. Lando, he's got to be feeling a little bit of pressure now because I know Verstappen is still a fair bit behind him, but he's looking good. Historically,
this is the Max weekend. If he wins this race, it's definitely on, because then he goes to a run of Grand Prix that he's good at, the Red Bull's ordinarily good at, and the momentum's there as well. But this is the bogey track. This is the one that they never do well at. This is the one, and this is kind of the one he needs to win to really make him maybe believe that he could win the title.
That's it, isn't it? You know, it's been talked about. This is one of their weakest tracks, certainly in recent years. You know, it was the one back in 2023 when that Red Bull was so dominant that it's the one race of the year they didn't win. It was Carlos Sainz. But at the race, he was actually out qualified by Liam Lawson in the RB, because Verstappen, I think, was out in Q2, and everyone lost their minds because it's like, this guy has dominated this season. Suddenly he's out in Q2 being knocked out by Liam Lawson. At that time, he was driving for RB. And Carlos went out to win it. You know, so it's if it slips back to how it usually is, McLaren 1-2, or even both McLarens around the podium, you know, that's what you'd expect. But yeah, if Verstappen and Red Bull can string it all together and get a good result here, then he's got to be a genuine contender again, which was unthinkable before Monza.
Because we go, so after here we go over to the Americas, don't we? Do the American leg. And obviously, he's always very good over there. So it generally is. This is if it's going to happen, if he's going to make this a miraculous comeback, this weekend will be the affirmation of it, I suppose. Because if he doesn't get anything but a win, it's hard. Well, it has to beat both McLarens, really. That's kind of the really realistic thing.
Yeah,
whether that's all or not.
Yeah, what I love about it is this circuit can throw up some surprises. You know, it's in the past it was Mercedes, a bit of a bogey track for them. Particularly in their dominant years. Ferrari seemed to go well here. You know, Carlos did it a couple of years ago.
Ferrari this year, they were decent on the Saturday in Baku. Obviously, you don't really know what the race pace was because they were just stuck behind like everybody else in the DRS train. I'm interested to see how Lewis goes after the week he's had. Whether he'd really be in, you know, his head will be in it. I don't know.
Obviously, the very, very sad news about his dog Roscoe passing away, which is horrible, horrible news. So yes, obviously, condolences. I'm sure.
Yeah. But, I'm pretty sure he was. If Roscoe was still, you know, in dog intensive care, I guess, whatever you call it. I think there was a pretty much big chance he was going to miss this weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. Yeah, I wouldn't blame him. So yeah, is his head really going to be? I mean, he's very good at switching off, you know, and putting the racing helmet on effectively and going for it. But he is a very emotional guy, and obviously Roscoe he's had for so many years. But we shall certainly see. He could be using it to spur him on. You never know.
Never know.
But Ferrari could go well here. Charles Leclerc's pretty good around street circuits. Could be a surprise, certainly for pole position. And if you get pole or you qualify high up the grid, then you've got a good chance of holding it throughout the race. It's not as difficult as Monaco to overtake because you have got longer DRS zones. You can send it down some of the corners, but still not the easiest, as science proved a couple of years ago, of course. So,
yes, I think it'll be. I think I've got a sneaky feeling that the racing bulls may well be in and around the mix. To be fair, just because I don't know, I just get a feeling that car likes these kind of circuits.
Yeah, there could be the potential for a few midfield surprises. You know, we've had podiums from 3 midfield teams now, which is brilliant. I'm not as confident this weekend about the Williams' chances. I don't think the car's going to be as strong here.
No, I think Williams will be back at the top 10. I think again. But
historically, it's not been a good circuit for them, really.
No, I don't think. I just feel like maybe Racing Bulls might pinch themselves in there with the usual 4 teams. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda could well turn up. He had a decent weekend last weekend.
Yeah, Yuki seems to have turned a corner, literally.
Well, I don't know. One race isn't turning the corner, is it really? But
it was solid all weekend, wasn't it? Because he was there or thereabouts in qualifying. It wasn't like he happened to put in a good lap in a qualifying where you lost a lot of people and then fell backwards. He was competitive throughout the race as well. So yeah, fingers crossed. I want to see Yuki doing well because it's nice to see both of the Red Bulls doing well. Not just one fighting for wins and podiums, the other one trailing around in 9th and 10th. There's a lot of intrigue about this one because potential bogey tracks, potential teams coming out of the woodwork and surprising. The likes of obviously the likes of RB, potentially Aston. I know Fernando goes quite well there.
Well, it's just a few races ago, they looked like they turned the corner. They were ready to be a serious player in the end of the season, and then just gone nowhere again, haven't they?
It's almost like Adrian Newey. They've given us a few upgrades. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, no. So Baku was a bit of a non-event for both of them, wasn't it? So
they turned up, but it's like Adrian Newey. They've upgraded the car a few times, and Adrian's looked at it and gone, "Nah, don't bother. Just give it to let's have next year. Don't bother with this one." So they look good for a few races, then stopped all development. Whereas if they have done that with the Williams, then that's very good that Carlos Sainz got a podium because I thought they were just going to drop back this year. But yeah, it's intriguing. I think one team that we can guarantee that won't turn up will be Alpine, funnily enough, because you get some cars that go well at circuits and others that don't, and Alpine just don't seem to go well at any circuit.
No.
And it's such a waste for Pierre Gasly. It really is.
You said this last year. They turned up at Brazil and got double podiums.
That was so frustrating. When Williams were fighting for, 7th, 8th in the championship?
Yeah. When nowhere else they turn up for a double podium.
As happy as I was for Gasly and for the team, it's just like, oh, you bastards. You had to get ahead of Williams.
No.
Yeah, it will certainly be a battle sort of up and down the midfield as well, which I'll be quite intrigued to watch. I'm looking forward to it, but there's that constant thing playing on my mind of like, is Verstappen a genuine contender now? And if he goes well this weekend, then yeah, absolutely. McLaren needs to. Well,
actually, there's a question for you as you're wearing your Ipswich shirt. How are you negotiating Sunday?
See, this is a tricky one because
the second half kicks off just as the lights go out. So
yeah, it's a 12 o'clock kickoff, and so obviously the first half at least will be on the TV, and then it's which one is relegated to the iPad and the My Sky app.
Defending Town are 3-0 down on it, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. If Ipswich Town are winning, or it's still 0-0, or a draw of some kind, they'll be on the big TV still. I'll have Singapore on the iPad. If Town are losing, they're getting relegated to the iPad, and it's F1 on the big TV. It also depends. I mean, it's going to be tricky because I've got the father-in-law coming around in the afternoon, and he's a Norwich fan. So one of us is not going to be happy. Could be doubly miserable depending on how well Williams do. So.
Oh yeah, but qualifying's on 2 o'clock on the Saturday. I'm like, switch them around. Come on.
Yeah, they could have given us a bit. Yeah, they should have thought about the East Anglian Derby fans here before they. They
should have thought about it, shouldn't they?
Did they not realise that one of the biggest derbies in the world is on TV on the same day? Apparently not. Pretty ITV have got it as well. But there we go.
Yeah, it's on Sky, yeah, so everybody can watch it.
Yeah, good luck.
No dodgy sticks here.
No, absolutely. But yeah, it's so depending on how football's going, it depends on which one's on TV and which one's on the iPad. But yeah, we shall certainly see. No, it's a Grand Prix I do love. Although it starts to get in my mind that Singapore's here, the end of the European season. Well, that's been
it signals the start. It signals the start of the end, doesn't it?
It does, and this season's come and gone so quickly.
We don't go back to Europe. It's well and truly done.
Yeah.
Funny time. Funny start time. Start appearing.
Yeah, we've had the nice summer's afternoon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock
I,
race
I actually,
starts.
I like the American start times because you can just get your Sunday out of the way. You're not, and 8 o'clock or so sit and watch the Grand Prix. Bosh.
Yeah, I do like that. That is nice. You can have a nice day, nice relaxing day, and then Grand Prix. But it's the Japanese and the Australian and Chinese start times I don't like.
Vegas one. That's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. That race start on a Saturday.
That is ridiculous. But
I'll get up and watch it. But
oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. But I don't know. It does signal the start of the end of the season. The summer has been and gone. You've had your lovely summer's afternoon races with your cold beers and whatnot, and now it's just autumnal. So sit inside. It's going to get colder. It's going to get more miserable. But hopefully we'll have some good races for it. We might, after all, have a three-way title fight. Who knows?
You should have a title fight of some sorts, whether it's a two-way or a three-way.
Yeah, McLaren can win the constructors this weekend. And you've got to think that if they win we said this before Baku, and then it all went horribly wrong.
Yeah, all they had to do was finish the points, both of the points pretty much, and they win the title. But
No, you've got to think that if they do win it this weekend, then that's it. There's got to be gloves off for the championship, isn't it? Because you've done your best for the team. We've won the title. Now it's every man for himself. May the best man win. If you make contact, you're not going to cost us anything apart from a bit of money. So be it, yeah. And I've got to think that in that case, I get the feeling that Oscar will be the better wheel-to-wheel racer.
Well, we've seen with Lando all season. He's been found slightly wanting, hasn't he, in wheel-to-wheel combat.
And this, the race just gone was a perfect example. Okay, Oscar's binned it. He's out. All you've got to do is stick a cracking lap in. You've got pole or top two, and then hold it. And he binned it in the quali, and then just couldn't make progress in the race. I can't help but get the feeling that if that was Max, he'd have made a few places up. We saw in the dominant seasons and even the least dominant or the less dominant seasons that if he was a bit further behind in qualifying, he'd still make up for it in the race. He would just absolutely send it in the race. And that's what Lando's missing. He needs that sort of cutthroat mentality.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's missed. That's why he's 27 points down.
Yeah.
He's silly. Canada was the silliest one.
That cost him.
That was 20 points, was it, or whatever it was?
Yeah. It's cost him dearly, and I still maintain that I will be very surprised if Oscar doesn't win this title. He's got the position. He seems to have the better headspace, apart from Baku. He seems just so cool and calm.
I generally think that this is both their only chances. I don't think McLaren. Well, McLaren won't be as dominant next year. I don't think. So I think that the team dynamic will hinder them in a closer battle with another team.
Yeah, we've had before that teams have had every man for himself mentality. McLaren back in the Prost and Senna days, and it gave both drivers the chance of a world title. It's really hurting them. It's not letting them race. Was it back in Australia when Oscar was closing on Lando and then they told him to back off?
Yeah.
And then he dropped back and then they said, okay, you can fight again now. But I'm already 2 seconds behind now. Let them, and I get it's the first race of the season, but let them fight. So hopefully, if they do win the title this year, in Baku, Singapore, we've had Baku, losing track of the races. If they win the title in Singapore, then for the rest of the season, you can actually see them have wheel-to-wheel fights because there won't need to be team orders.
No,
unless it's to keep Verstappen at bay.
I mean, it's very rare. Do you ever have two close teammates fighting for a world championship and then another team? You know what I mean? And they win it. So there's always only ever one when there's another team involved. When Hamilton Rosberg, it was only the Mercedes. So, they could easily go at each other. This year, obviously, there's no, until Max has turned up the last two races, there's not been anybody else. Prost and Senna, there wasn't, the McLaren was the dominant car. ordinarily it's only ever one man in a team against the rest.
Mm.
That's how they win the world titles. I mean, I can't remember the last time when there was two drivers who were so closely matched fighting for a world title with another person. It's probably back to 2007, possibly.
I can think of 2010 because you had Vettel and Webber, and Alonso was in there as well.
Could you say that Webber is that good?
Certainly not on the level of Vettel and Alonso, but up until Korea, I think Webber was leading that, and he had that title in his hand.
Well, Vettel never led the title until the last race, so
he was always there or thereabouts, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he never actually led the.
But Webber, Webber had the championship lead, and that crash in Korea, I think, ruined it for him. In a similar way to when Vettel crashed in Hockenheim 2018, that destroyed that for him.
Still don't know how he
went. I know. He should have been a 5-time champion. But that just destroyed it, and it's a similar sort of thing. Yeah, I can't really think back to another time he had two teammates going for the title and someone else sort of there or thereabouts, apart from, sort of 2010. I mean, 2007, you had the two McLarens and Kimi just, thanks very much.
Kimi did the Vettel. Kimi did what Vettel did. He was just there lurking.
He was, Fernando and Lewis. I think one of these has won this title. And Kimi's just, nice one. Cheers. Anyway, I'm done. Yeah, I'm just going to take it easy for a while now. And then suddenly Felipe Massa was the favourite for Ferrari the next year. That went well.
Even 2008 was Massa. Raikkonen fell off a cliff in 2008. I don't know he must have been partying too hard. But that was Massa versus Hamilton, wasn't it? Really? So.
Yeah, so you only again had two drivers there. But the only time I could think of two teammates and another team getting any close, or another driver getting any close, is 2010 maybe. Because 2012 was mainly Vettel and Alonso as well. And then, you had obviously 2013, he had no real competition, did he? Because that Ferrari wasn't great and the McLaren wasn't great.
Yeah, no. 2013 and 14 were very much non-events, I think.
And then it just became a one-team, two-driver thing.
What I remember in 2013 was just Fernando always qualifying fifth.
Yeah, and that started in Spain, though. Ooh.
Yeah.
Smashed it. But it's just imagine the scenes if it crosses the line in Abu Dhabi and Max Verstappen has suddenly won this title. Incredible. McLaren would have themselves to blame for that.
I think they would, yes. I agree.
This is a title that we've been saying all season that McLaren cannot lose. They cannot lose the constructors. They cannot lose the drivers.
It's almost like the golf.
Constructors. Yeah.
I don't know if you're a golf man, but I mean, how the hell we only just about won that? I do not know.
Well, it's incredible, isn't it? Because it's like they were so far clear of the field. And suddenly, because everyone's going, Max, can't forget about him. No, come on, look how far behind he is. And suddenly it's like...
Yeah, it's quite an interesting parallel, isn't it? It is kind of like that the McLarens are so far ahead that actually they get too carried away of pissing around with each other and forget about the man in the background lurking.
And the fact that Max has had the most poles all season.
Who goes off on his weekends off and goes and race and wins race.
GT3. I know, we haven't even touched on that. So he was driving a Verstappen.com racing, liveried Ferrari. Red Bull livery on a Ferrari. Just
bizarre.
Very strange. It just turns up at the Nürburgring, wins it. Cheerio. Anyway, back to Formula One. This guy's dedication to racing is just, I don't think I've ever seen it before. Because other drivers like Lewis or whatever, they'll be going to fashion shoots and other bits and pieces, playing sports. Verstappen's like, right, okay, cool. Finish my race.
He only has one interest, and that's just to race.
It's racing. Be it in an F1 car, a GT3 car, on a simulator.
Yeah, he just wants to race.
Yeah. So, right, what am I going to do now? GT3. Sod it, why not?
Kelly Piggott must love being on her own.
Yeah. Yes, come on. So you've got a young daughter. Come on. But she must be very understanding. But go and race. Go to the Nürburgring. It's fine. I couldn't get away with that. But the dedication is it's unmatched. It is unmatched. But Yeah, we shall this weekend. Yeah, it could be a turning point, or it could be sort of maybe the nail in the coffin for Verstappen's title hopes, depending on how it goes. Of course, I think it's certain, even after Baku, that McLaren will win the constructors this year. Oh, after this race, sorry. And
Even
I
they
really
can't.
hope they do. Well, you never know. I really hope they just get it over the line, because we all want to see a wheel-to-wheel, gloves-off title fight between Piastri and Norris. Because, like you say, it could be their only chance to win a title fight. Next year, who knows what other teams are working on. Aston have got Adrian Newey. Williams, I'm not expecting miracles from, but apparently they've stopped all development and they're focusing solely on next year. Ferrari, Mercedes could come back. It's going to be anybody's game.
We've not had that Mercedes win yet, have we?
No.
Have we had Mercedes?
Oh, we had a Mercedes. Russell won in Canada, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Bloody kid, yeah.
But yeah, it's anybody's game unless you're Alpine. So, and maybe Audi.
Not even Sauber even watching, I think.
Cadillac. But yeah, Cadillac have done a brawn. They're going to turn up next year, Bottas and Perez, and smash it all. Just imagine the scenes. But yeah, I'm intrigued by it. It happens at such a great circuit as well. It's one of these modern circuits, which is sort of a classic. It's been on the calendar for almost 20 years now, which is incredible. But it's brilliant. It's such a good circuit. And I always think about Crashgate. I know I shouldn't anymore.
It's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't really think of any Singapore races where I've got a bit bored and fallen asleep. It's always been some form of excitement. Like the battle a couple of years ago between Sainz, was it Norris, Russell? Russell binned it on the last lap. But that was fantastic.
Well, that was it was actually Norris hit the wall first, didn't he? But he glanced it, and Norris followed him. No, sorry, Russell followed him and hit the wall better and crashed out.
Absolutely wipes himself out. I just love the instructions Ferrari were giving to Sainz. He's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Very sort of Kimi Räikkönen 2012 vibes on that one. But so looking ahead to Singapore then. So in reverse order, what would you say your top three would be?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a very good one. I'm going to go with Charlie Leclerc third, Max second, Lando to win.
Ooh, okay. Another poor weekend for Piastri.
Only to spice up the championship.
Very nice. I'm going to go for Charles Leclerc third, Lando second, and an Oscar win. I think McLaren are going to bounce back. I think Red Bull will struggle this weekend. I
think they'll struggle. I think Max will pull that lap out at quali, and then just use the advantage of Singapore of not being able to overtake to.
Yeah, he'll still be there or thereabouts. Yeah, he'll still be there or thereabouts. But I don't know. I can't see him being as strong this weekend. I think McLaren will bounce back. They have looked really strong at the sort of tight, twisty circuits as well. Ferrari do look good. Like you say, the Saturday pace in Baku with those 90-degree turns was brilliant. They just fell apart in the race. And Singapore's got some very similar sort of turns. So I'm intrigued to see it. I think that Charles Leclerc will have the better of the two, or will have the advantage of the two Ferrari drivers. I'm starting
I just find it hard to see how Lewis will be mentally there. So
no, I just find it really hard to believe that so far this season we've had a Sauber, RB, and a Williams on the podium before Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari. Which, if you had said that before the season started, I would have thought you were absolutely mad.
He was in the sprint podium. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that counts. It does count.
He's on it.
I'll tell you what.
Top step as well.
Yeah, and if it was a Williams or someone like that, I would have counted it absolutely.
Exactly.
Metal J, Salah, welcome in. First for Norris, second for Oscar, third for Verstappen. Okay. Intriguing. I think so, yeah. A lot of us go for...
Yeah, that's probably more than what I actually probably think. I just felt like trying to find it.
Mixing it up a little bit. I'm going to put my Williams hat on and say 9th and 10th. Albon back ahead of Sainz. Let's go.
Albon to not crash in qualifying will be a good start.
Just a Williams to not crash for a weekend would be a good start. It's always one of them. If it's not one, it's the other one.
You can see that, but this is how much they've come on, though. They don't, and they haven't got to limit their parts.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they were like, you can't crash because we haven't got anything else.
That was our last front wing, Logan. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Has anyone got a tea tray? There we go. Well, thank you very much for watching. That is our time done for the week. We're now going to go and watch our respective football teams hopefully win, but you never bloody know. We shall see you next week after the Singapore Grand Prix. Hopefully it's been an absolute banger. McLaren would have won the Constructors, and then they can have a gloves off title fight. We'll see you then. We might have Neil. Who knows? I say that every week. I'm losing hope. Has he come back from Cyprus? Did he miss his plane?
Yeah, no, he's back apparently. He sent me some reels on Instagram, so he's alive.
Oh, there we go. He's out there somewhere. Hi, Neil, if you're watching. He's in the comments going, shit, I should have been on that. There we go. Anyway, see you next week. Have a good week, everyone. Take care. Enjoy the race. I've been Steve. He's been Chris. We'll see you then. Cheers.